Cheers forum, good evening. Today I'm going to do a little review on the HK243. As you can actually see, this is sort of like a hybrid. It's shorter than the stock 243 that comes out of the box. This is due to the fact that I've imported the barrel and gas assembly from America, from a genuine G36C. I guess you could call this one sort of like an HK243C. There's not that much of a big difference actually between the stock 36C and the 243, I guess. The only big difference is probably the bolt clear group that it does not accept full auto, and also the fact that the bolt of the 243 does not let go of the recoil spring. It's actually fixed. I'm going to show you later on. I got a bunch of videos where I shoot this gun, and I was actually really excited when I bought it. It took me actually quite a long time to get my hands on it, due to the conversion mainly. What can I say? It's G36. You probably see it in every movie. It was featured in every video games over the last 10 years. It's a pretty cool gun. It's quite compact. I mean, it's the most compact that I have, probably. It's lightweight. It has Picatinny rails all over the place. Always stock. It's quite compact. I mean, that's a G36. That's my beer. What version you want. At the beginning I was really thrilled about this gun. I bought all sorts of accessories for it, including extra magazines, cheek rest that actually goes mounted like this. I got an extra handguard from B&T, which is quite slick. But after shooting it for extended periods of time, both normal at the range and during one class that I brought it along, I sort of don't like it that much anymore. Don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm still glad that I have it in my collection because it's very rare, and I had to invest quite a lot of money in it. But the problem is that this gun, since it's so rare on the market, and you only see it in video games and movies and whatever, and on TV, like with police forces in the German army or whatever, you kind of think, well, it must be badass. It is sort of badass, but not that much. What do I mean? Well, I have some complaints about it. I mean, I post regularly on HK Pro, and I said kind of the same. First of all, let's start with the magazines. This is a standard E-mag from Magpul that I use with my SCAR and AR-15s. This is the G36 mag. You can see it's definitely more wide. I don't know if with the light you can see it. It's super wide. It's more wide. It's more fat, more wide. It's not taller. It's got the knobs here on the side to like a couple more magazines, which is cool because I have it on my Swiss Army gun as well, the SIG 550. The only thing in the SIG 550, they don't protrude that much. You can still pack them in your taco, HSGI, whatever. This one is impossible. This one, I mean, this one is leak. The one from the SIG 550 is okay. This one is just too much. It's just too fat. It doesn't fit anywhere. And then, you know, this little thing here, like around the gun, this is just awkward, you know. It doesn't, when you want to stuff it inside your molly, it just doesn't work. So I got some PMags for G36, but this is not the point. You know, I like this translucent design. I think, you know, polymer magazine, they're like see-through, are good, and I want to stick with this one. I'm just don't know where to stuff them. I'm not gonna plan to set up a new rig just for the G36, so fuck it. So that's the first one. You know, running this gun with these magazines is already a pain. Okay. Well, yeah. What next? I mean, the trigger on this one sucks really bad. I mean, you can tell the whole gun is polymer, and you think, well, probably there is metal where it needs to be. No. I think the barrel and the bolt and the springs are out of metal, but like the trigger, everything inside here is plastic as well. Look, I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. So this is your basic, I don't know if you can call it so, but that's pretty much the lower receiver, the only lower thing that comes off, because the gun is, I mean, field stripping the gun, you take out the trigger assembly, pull out the stock, and then you can take out the ball carrier group, and that's it. The gun is field stripped. If you want, you can clean up the gas piston in front, but I'm not gonna bother now. It's not so necessary. Anyway, this is pretty much your lower. It says DE HK Cal 556.45. It's not branded as being 223, which is good because I hate it. It's stupid 223 thing. Anyway, so this is the trigger inside. You can tell the springs are out of metal. Everything else is plastic. Listen to the noise it makes. It's retarded, okay? The run feels like it's not that much actually, because on an AR-15 it's 90 degrees here, it's, I don't know, half of it. But it feels really long. Maybe because it's plastic and it's kind of, it has this plastic thing that's kind of elastic and it feels really long, like it takes a lot. And then the trigger when you shoot, it's just awful. You can tell. I mean, between the plastic and the springs, I don't know, of course it's the springs that make the difference, but still, the fact that everything is plastic inside, I don't know, just blows my mind. I have a scar, which I featured in a past video, and that's all plastic as well, but inside at least there's some metal in the trigger group. This one, no, only here in front and the springs. I bet they would have done the springs in plastic as well if it was possible. Thank God it's not possible today. And there you have it. These are basically my two main points, because when you have a gun like this one, like a short, compact little thing like this, I mean, the trigger, you can say, all right, fuck it. I'm not gonna plan to hit anything beyond 300 yards. I don't care, It has to be fast, going, get out, do whatever you have to do, but the reset on the trigger, it's not that great as well. So the first pull is kind of awful. I cannot even get over it because the reset is pretty bad. Wait. Do you hear it? It's kind of loud, and I don't know, after a while, since the pull is quite weird, sometimes I even lose the reset when I'm like trying to place double taps and stuff. I lose the reset and then I just get off track and then I have to start again. It doesn't happen with other guns that I have. I shot AK, SCAR, AR-15, 6. I even got a FAMAS, which is a bullpup. But the reset on this one is especially bad. And now, some people say, okay, there's aftermarket triggers, there's aftermarket this and that, springs, special stuff. This is a gun that, has been around for like ages, okay? So it's like a mass-produced gun. I mean, this platform as well, it's got a shorter barrel, of course, but the upper receiver is the same for the G36, including this lower receiver, if you may call it so. I was expecting something a bit more nuanced, especially because with this trigger module is probably the same also for German Army G36. They don't shoot, okay, they shoot it full out, but basically there's a couple of more springs inside. I don't expect it to be that much different. How are you supposed to shoot this thing really precisely in, I don't know, 200 yards or 400? I don't know. It just blows my mind. I mean, the SIG 550 that I have, it's, you know, they've been around for like ages, and the trigger is superb, you know. It's a military trigger, it's really good. I mean, it's two-stage. The one from the SCAR, I didn't like it that much at the beginning, but I got used to it now. It's crisp. I mean, it's not that crisp, like the 550, it's just one stage, but at least, you know where the result is, you feel it coming, and you never miss it. This one is just awful. It just sucks. I'm sorry for it. No, I'm not that much sorry, actually. You know, this is a gun that I wanted to have in my collection, but I never planned it to be sort of the super duper gun that I was gonna run in any situation. This is a gun, I mean, that probably has a cooler effect if you put it on the wall than just actually carrying it in classes and that sort of stuff. It's reliable, of course. It's very reliable. I mean, I'm gonna show you now. The gas system of this one is pretty much what you find also in the HK243 or MR223 or whichever one you have. It's extremely reliable. It's genius. Okay. The gun runs extremely clean. I mean, all of the gas that's needed to cycle the weapon is, no, let's use another approach. The gun uses only exactly the gas that it needs to cycle, and everything else it just outflows from here, from the front. You could probably not see it, there's a little hole. So when it hits the back, and there's more gas inside, the gas is just gonna flow from here. So the gun really runs clean, and by clean I really mean it. I tried to shoot this thing suppressed, but I still cannot find the right muzzle brake, the right muzzle device to fit my suppressor, so it's taking more time than I expect, which of course is always happens if you're running a HK. HK, I mean, finding spare parts or parts in general, I don't know, it's just, you better light up a candle and start praying all the gods that you know. It's A, super expensive, B, takes just so much time, I don't know whichever is worse. At some point I will just, I would get over the price, but I just cannot lower how long it takes, which is retarded as well. But yeah, I'm digressing. So yeah, I mean, what can I say? Well, probably this is a gun that people would buy, but probably they would buy just once. You can own AR-15s in every different flavor, in every different configuration. This is a gun that you probably would buy just once. The whole family is pretty cool. The stock G36, the long one, the G36K with the optics and the little retarded ragdoll, or the G36C. I mean, these are guns that probably, as a matter of fact, if I could just, own any kind of gun, I would like to own all three, because they are all really special. The long one is, the long one, whatever, is the standard one, the G36K and the C, they don't substitute each other, they just complement each other. The whole family is kind of different in some way. It's not like an M4 or a Mark 18 where you say, okay, the one is shorter, I'll go for the Mark 18, what's the point in an M4? The G36K and the G36C are just, sweet units. They're pretty cool. I would like to own them all. Nevertheless, for what it costs and for how long it takes to get your hands on one, it's just too much, I like, this C, whatever I bring it to the range, people are like, oh, this is G36C, yeah. There is a lot of hype about it, and it's okay like this, It cost me a lot of money, and I'm still glad to have it. It's a true collector's item. I like the fact that the barrel of mine is just not scuffed. It's like a genuine G36 barrel, so I feel better about it. I collect guns and everything around them, and I would buy it anytime. I just not that much of an HK fanboy would I say, okay, I would place it above everything else that I have. I like ARs, I like the SCAR, I'm planning to get a SIG 553, an SBR as well. I'm confident that the 553 would be a really badass gun and better than this one. I'm gonna make a comparison when the time comes, but I'm kind of short of money lately. But yeah, so you have it. I mean, I know in the United States people are there are some HK, there is a good HK base in the United States and also here in Europe that are like buying HK stuff such as the MR223 or whatever. I still don't understand why HK, they have such a hard time selling what people want. They sell you the stuff. They always have, I have a MR308, super heavy barrel. The takedown pins here are retardedly complicated to take. I mean, why do they have to make your life so complicated? I have a friend who's got this gun, the HK243, the tactical version, and the takedown pins are not this one here that you just pull and take out. They are just, those are pins that you have to unscrew from each side because they connect in the middle inside the gun or some sort of weird shit like this. They sell it to you as, yeah, it enhances precision. It just doesn't make sense, it's retarded, okay? This is what I understand from HK. And the prices, yeah, I said, I'm not even gonna bother arguing about the prices. This thing cost me so much, and if you wanna buy, as a government agency, it's so cheap, it just doesn't make sense. Okay, you could probably buy 4 government G36 with the price of a normal G243 conversion. So, yeah, I'm not even gonna bother. I have some videos where I shoot it, so if you wanna see how this thing shoots, I'm gonna hit up some other videos that I have. But yeah, I'm not sorry to having bought this gun. I think it's still cool. I'm super excited to have it in my collection. For those out there who thought the G36 was badass, yeah, in Call of Duty it's super badass. It's still reliable. It's reliable also in real life, but you gotta have a hard time, substituting your SBR, AMR-15 or whatever SBR you have with this one. Only because you have to make too many compromises. You have to adapt your rig, you have to adapt how you shoot, you have to really get used to this trigger model that HK offers you. I don't know if there are better ones on the market. I know for sure that there are some springs that you can change from the SL8 and whatever, but I don't know. If you have the chance to buy it, it's not that expensive in the stock configuration. The only problem is that the stock configuration is really retarded. It's this one arrived with sort of a full-length barrel, full-length stock, and this Picatinny ray made out of polymer. Not even aluminum, polymer. So if you like HKs, you probably know what happened with the G36. They say that with heat, the polymer tends to deform. Nobody knows what is true or not. Some say it's true, some say it's not. I just tend to believe that RA made out of polymer is just, beyond the fact that it may deform or not, it's how durable can it be. If this gun falls on its head, what's going to happen with the plastic? So I'd rather go for it. As a matter of fact, I bought a USG rail out of aluminium, but I have it in my room. I went back to the original configuration. I took out the cheek rest, the aluminium rail, and the handguard because when I understood that the G36C was not going to be my primary workhorse, I thought, what the hell? At least it may. I might just at least go back to the vanilla look and sport a real G36, like a giant G36 look, and that's what I'm doing now. Bottom rail with this weird thing here to stop your hand to attach a sling. Full Picatinny rail. The iron sights are horrible, to be honest. You have 2 settings. What was it? Yeah, 100 and 300. I still didn't figure out what difference there is. But yeah, I mean, finally, as I told some people in the forum, the cool thing is that finally I get to, to complain about a gun that I have, rather than to complain about the fact that I don't have it. Because before it was like this. Before, if you wanted to get your hands on G36, you had to buy an SL8, which looks like the most retarded thing in the world, and then you had to spend even more money to get it sort of, cutting, molding, attaching things. to get it, to something that looks like this. Now you can, HK makes your life a little bit easier after, I don't know, 20 years that the G36 is just shooting around. You can buy the stock version and then just add here and there which parts you need. This one has a sure stock, okay? I said the handguard bar assembly, this is different, but been there, done that, check the box, glad to own it, but time to move on. So, hope I was able to clarify some little points on the G36 or the 243, or as the civilian name goes. I didn't take out anything, from the inside because I already did it in a prior video, even though it kind of sucks. It was the first video that I did, and the audio is a bit fucked. But I took out the bolt in that video. I showed you how similar it is to the SCAR. Again, these are just my impression of the G36 platform after having used it for quite some time now. I think I will move on. I have other plans now. I really like SBRs, so I plan to try to get my hands on all the SBRs I can. It's not easy because guns in Switzerland are quite expensive. But on the bright side, if you can afford it, you can pretty much buy everything there is on the market. So yeah, look forward. I'm gonna post some more videos of SBRs as my finances allow it to me. And yeah, bye.